Purdue usually doesn't lose at Mackey, and they certainly don't lose to teams that are sub 500. And yet, here we are tonight, Ohio State, who has struggled. They've been in some tight games. They haven't been able to pull them out. You look at the last 3 games, they lose to Oregon by a bucket. They lose to Wisconsin by a bucket. Indiana was a tight game. They find a way on the road to get over the hump. Jeff Goodman makes sense of it for me, sir.
It's hard to at Mackey. I mean, Purdue's about as dominant a home team as there is, but this Purdue team is just not nearly as dominant. And, Braden Smith struggled in the second half. And, frankly, again, when they're not making threes, and Ohio State is, I mean, it's the great equalizer. No matter what, it's the great equalizer, whether you're home or on the road. If you start draining threes and getting hot, and Micah Parrish did, and I think Purdue is just so reliant on either Braden Smith or Trey Kaufman-Renn, and they can keep going to the well with Trey Kaufman-Renn, but you're trading twos for threes, and ultimately that's going to keep Ohio State in the game. When they were down 16 at one point, I mean, it looked like they were going to get run, and they stay in it. They take the lead, and, listen, Janai Mobley is one of the best shooters. He didn't have a great night, and he got hit early on in the game, and I wasn't sure he was going to come back. But he is one of the elite shooters in college basketball. He drained a big one at the end of the game to kind of give Ohio State the win.
It was massive for Ohio State. They needed that. I mean, that's a team that needed to learn how to win. Matt, you've been a part of programs at Florida. You coach Chattanooga. You've been at UMass. Sometimes a team just needs to understand this is what it's like to win. Now, they nearly gave that game away. They had a nice sizable lead, and Purdue did everything there at the end to chip and scratch and claw, but they're going home with a W, and that trip home is going to feel sweet after going to Mackey. So how valuable for Jake Diebler's team?
Well, this is the same team that knocked off Kentucky by 20 points, right? So, let's not Ohio State's good.
They're talented.
Purdue, more or less, coming back off that West Coast swing where they won 2 games in a row. And I would love to see what the numbers are going to be for these teams coming off that swing when they have to play a game, right? Like, they played on January 18th. They turn around and play today at home. And it's one of those things like, hey, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Ohio State, they're not having a great year. It's that human nature element, that human nature game of, hey, we just went out there. We won 2 games in a row. We're a top 25 team. There's no way in our own building that we're going to get beat. Well, you got beat because if a team, like Goodman just says, if a team comes in there and makes a ton of threes, it's the greatest equalizer in all of college basketball. For Purdue to play as well as they did on that West Coast swing, that's the thing about basketball. You got to turn around and play again. And when a team makes a ton of threes like they did tonight, anybody can beat you. But for Ohio State, it's kind of one of those things like, who is this team? Are they the team that is going to beat Kentucky by 20 and then turn around, today and win the game on the road against, a good Purdue team? Or are they going to be the team that's lost some games? Like, who are they going to be? But I think this is more about Purdue in terms of went on the West Coast, won those 2 games, turn around, came home, hey, we will be okay. No, we're not okay. We're in a dogfight. And then even when you get a lead in the game, take a breath. Oh, all right, this is fine. Let's kick it in cruise control. Nope, all of a sudden threes start going in. You're going to lose the game.
So what is the Big Ten even? Like, I was just thinking about this. We've had these years, you think about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago where the Big Ten was so damn good at the top, and we were talking about how great they were in the regular season, and then they get to the tournament and, they wouldn't get the fruits. They wouldn't cut down the net. This year, like, what does it even mean to be at the top of the Big Ten? Michigan State's been outstanding. Michigan, Purdue, et cetera. But you look at Purdue tonight, they look vulnerable. I mean, Jeff, it's crazy, but the SEC
at home.
Like, what does it mean? What is the Big Ten? I know.
It's a bunch of teams. You really could have 4 or 5 teams that are honestly fighting for the title going into the last week of the season. There's not much separation. Illinois got the most talent. I don't think anybody's gonna argue with that one. But again, they're still up and down a little bit, right? I mean, you lose to USC. No shame in losing at Michigan State. No shame whatsoever. But they're going to be up and down because they're still completely new. And, a combination of youth with Will Riley and some of their other guys. And then a bunch of new guys, Colin Boswell and some of their other transfers. I trusted, like I said it earlier today, I was on a show and they asked me, who do you trust to win the league? And I said, Purdue. I mean, I thought this one today you could chalk up as a guaranteed win at home, and almost every win at Mackey, every game is a guaranteed win for them. But now you worry, like, who's it going to be? Obviously Izzo's gotten off to a good start, and Michigan State looks good. Like, they don't have as many holes as I thought they had. They're not the most talented team, but they're playing tough. They're playing Michigan State type basketball. Michigan's got a chance. We know Illinois' got a chance, and watching this Wisconsin team right now, they're fighting UCLA on the road. They're in the mix. Oregon's in the mix. Maryland's got a huge week here on the road at Illinois, at Indiana. We'll see what they can do. So there's probably 7 or 8 teams that are still like firmly in the hunt right now. And I don't remember last time I said that about any league at this point.